ladies and gentlemen, to the Catholic Education Foundation podcast. This podcast will feature Scotty Davenport, former head men's basketball coach at Bellarmine University, along with Catholic Education Foundation President Rich Lecklider. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss it.
Thank you. All right, now listen, Coach, thank you for joining us today. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of hearing Coach speak before, you're in for a treat. I've been around.
You bet.
I've seen it a few times at camps and several places he's given speeches before. So you are in for a treat, and I just can't wait for you guys to hear. Coach, let's start from the beginning. Tell us about your childhood and what it was like growing up here in the city of Louisville.
Oh, it was tremendous to start with. Wouldn't have it any other way. I was born on Thornberry Avenue, which is right across Taylor Boulevard from Churchill Downs. Lived there until I was 2. My mother then moved on Lindbergh Drive, a whopping 6 blocks away. And the reason, she was going to open up her own business, Davenport Beauty Salon.
Okay.
Well, the beauty salon was the first floor, and we lived on the second floor.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That lasted until I was 6, and then we moved on to Central Avenue.
Okay.
Right down the street from Churchill Downs. A lot of people have a swing set in their backyard. We had Churchill Downs.
Right. Not bad.
Pretty good shape.
But it was an incredible, caring, very, very compassionate neighborhood.
Okay.
And those friendships have lasted a lifetime.
Wow.
There's 3 people I grew up with still living in the home they were born in.
Really?
The Merediths, Mark Sims, the Craigs across the street still own their home.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's amazing. This time of year, when you get around the Kentucky Derby, when you live on Central Avenue, you're going to cut your grass twice that week. You're going to trim it. And for some reason, those azaleas, it's like Augusta.
Yeah.
They knew when to bloom.
They know what time of year.
They knew when to bloom. And it was where everybody had incredible pride in their neighborhood.
Coach, I want to talk to you about kind of your schooling and how you got to where you got. And I know that this is a big piece of this. So when you were 9, your father had passed away, which had to be incredibly tough. And obviously, I think set a lot of different things in motion for you. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, picture this. You're 9 years old, and it's Halloween day. You know, when you're 9, Halloween's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Because you're old enough where you can go do your thing without mom and dad going with you.
That's right.
And you do it with your friends, your boys,
Amen.
right? Mm-hmm. So we're ready. Mm-hmm. And it's a Sunday. And 1:15 in the afternoon, the Minnesota Vikings are playing the Cleveland Browns on TV. And 15 feet from me, my father collapses.
So you saw him collapse.
He's gone. People at times take me to task. I've been very, very loyal to first responders, to policemen, et cetera. And I know there's conflicting times and difficult. And people, why are you? My answer is very simple. My first interaction in my life on this earth was a station wagon responded to my house, and it was 2 officers. There was no defibrillators. There's no CPR. There's no mouth-to-mouth. There was a stretcher.
Right.
A fold-up stretcher, no gurney.
Right.
And they carried him out. In all likelihood, he was probably gone when he hit the floor. I don't know to this day where they took him. It was 60 years ago this Halloween. But I know this. Their compassion was overwhelming to me. I'll never forget his hands kept just falling, lifeless. And they were adamant about putting his hands up to his chest, to his stomach, and holding them. Mm-hmm. And they were so caring that I could never change my feeling toward them. But what happened from that point on, my mother, a single mom, both mom and dad were from Greene County, Kentucky. My mother had been Rosie the Riveter. She had been in Detroit. She had been in Texas while my dad was overseas serving our country. And she came back and went to beautician school, and she opened up and ran Davenport's beauty salon for 43 years. Wow. I've kidded our kids at Bellarmine who are business majors and are going on and getting their master's in business education, business administration. I was like, hey man, don't talk to me about your business degree. My mother ran her own business for 43 years with a sixth grade. We'll give her credit. A one-room schoolhouse in Greene County, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Now, the reason it's grades 1 through 6, you don't really know what grades. I know that's as far as she went because she had to take care of her. She was the second oldest of 11. She had to take care of all her siblings as her mom and dad were running the farm. So, I've challenged young people. You're given these educational opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
Use them.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Like nobody's business. Use them.
Well, Coach, you talked about how, off air here, a lot of the people that you grew up with in your neighborhood went to Catholic schools, but that wasn't in the cards for you.
And we all would have gone together. St. Anne's was down 7th Street, right on Algonquin. Holy Name was right on 4th Street, right near Churchill Downs at 4th and Central.
Yep.
Most Blessed Sacrament was right off Taylor Boulevard. St. Simon's was a little closer to Iroquois High School. But no matter what park we were in, South Central, Wyandotte, we were all together. But that would have never been an opportunity for me. Mm-hmm. My closest friend on earth, Alan Craig's mother, oversaw and ran with Mr. Horseman and Mr. Brothers Holy Name Gym.
Yeah.
So I lived in that gym.
Right.
But I could never play for them.
Right.
Because I didn't have the resources to attend school with Alan, Karen, Sharon, and Lisa, his 3 sisters. Mike Glasscock down the street, Mark Sims 1 street over.
Yeah.
And that's the hand I was dealt.
Rich, that's one of the things that makes the Catholic Education Foundation so special. It's its willingness to walk with families through life's challenges. Now, sadly, the CEF didn't exist at that point,
right?
Or that certainly would have been an option for Coach and his family, right? Why is it so important for the foundation to be there in these type of moments?
Well, I think Coach is spot on with what his own life experience, right? His dad passes when he's young. Single mom's got to raise a family. There's not enough resources to go around. We hear and see that every day,
right?
And we at different levels, right? It's obviously Coach's example is very dramatic, okay? Mm-hmm. And there's lots of things that happen in people's lives where they can't afford to go to a Catholic school. Loss of job, divorce. There's 100 different things that we come across. But for us, we got to accompany those people. Just like those 2 police officers that came in the Davenport house, we got to accompany that family too, because they need somebody.
That's right.
They need somebody to walk with them through this journey, and that's what we try to do. That's our number one role. When somebody calls the office, usually a mom, and says, hey, I'm in trouble, I need this, but I can't make it work, we got to be Johnny on the spot. We got to go right now and get that process going. And if that's what that family wants, we got to make that happen.
Amen.
We got to make it happen.
So, Coach, your love of basketball has been well documented over the years. If you don't mind, walk us through your journey, both as a player and a coach, and kind of where it all began.
My backyard. My dad had, prior to passing, I had the best basketball court in the backyard. Even though half was concrete and half was dirt/mud,
right?
It was okay. And that's where it happened every day, without a doubt. And again, I go to Fraser Elementary and I go on to Southern Junior High School, and it was junior high, not middle school. So
right.
It was 7, 8, 9. And looking back, probably the biggest, most defining moment in my early life and passion for basketball, I made the 9th grade team as an 8th grader.
Okay.
There's only 2 of us.
Yeah.
Mike Shaw and myself. That's big time.
Yeah. For sure.
Our basketball coach, our head basketball coach's name was Vernon Wold, W-O-L-D. And Vernon Wold was perfect. To give you a reference point, he looked like Ken in Ken and Barbie.
Okay.
He's perfect. No, he's perfect.
Gotcha.
And Mr. Wold wanted us to look great and be special on a day of a game.
Right.
So Mr. Wold had us wear a tie on a day of a game so we would stick out and we would be very distinguished among our peers. Well, I'm 13 years old. I had one tie. Mm-hmm. You want to guess what kind of tie that was?
Probably clip on.
It was a clip-on tie from my dad's funeral that probably hit me right about here.
Yeah, understood.
Well, in the 8th grade and you made the 9th grade team, that wouldn't have looked real swaggy, would it?
Right.
So my mother goes to Arlen's department store. It's the local department store on 7th Street Road, buys me 2 ties. And now, what's the problem? How you going to tie it?
Okay. Don't know how to do
My
it.
mother's from Greene County. My dad had been in the service. So I go to Mr. Woe after the practice the day before our first game. I said, Mr. Woe, I need to talk to you. I have a problem. I don't know how to tie a tie. I have 2 ties. And he said, Scotty, that's okay. I understand. He knew this situation. He said, meet me at school 1 hour before school. Meet me here at 7:30 in the morning. I'll bring you into the school building. Brought me in, took me into his classroom. Tied a tie. Oh, his ties were perfect. Around his neck. Took it off, put it around my neck. We tightened it. Shirt, perfect.
Okay.
Well, as the season progresses, the next step, he teaches me how to tie a tie. Now, we stand here today. Think of where on my life's journey I've worn a tie.
Oh, it's probably been a lot.
My mother's funeral, graduations, state championship as a high school coach, national championship in college, Final Four at U of L, sons' weddings. Think of where I've worn a tie.
Yeah, big moments.
Over life's journey. I've never tied a tie. I haven't. Just literally in tears. Thank Coach Wool.
That's what a story, Coach.
Think, okay, there's kind of
Too funny.
an ending point. Coach Wool had a son and a daughter. His son's name's Scotty.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Amen.
How about that?
Amen.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Now, could he coach basketball?
He was incredible. He was incredible. And then I get to Iroquois High School, and I play for a very, very passionate coach named Coach Al Peffer. And he taught me the biggest lesson I ever learned in coaching. Coach Patino, Coach Crum, line them all up. Coach Polio, Tubby Smith, line them all up. Always put the players first. And he said, if you treat them first class, there's no guarantee, but you're more apt to get first class back academically, athletically, in this day and age now, socially.
Yeah.
If you treat them third class, that's what you're going to get back. And here's how he was a man of his word. And there was no vending machines in a school back then, Iroquois High School. There was no, I mean, he would go to a distributor that would distribute to neighborhood stores.
Right.
And he would buy boxes of candy, Reese's, Nestle Crunch, Milky Way. He would buy these and sell them in his classroom.
Okay.
I mean, there's people between classes lined up in there to throw Coach, a quarter
good business.
to get a candy bar.
Right.
You know what that money went to? He bought us a tie, a shirt, a sport coat, a blazer, and pants to wear to games because he wanted us to be first.
How about that?
Wow. So it was like a uniform.
It was, everybody had a blue sport coat, a light blue shirt, a white tie. Back then, white ties were cool, and gray pants, and we wore those to the games.
That is classy.
And he raised that money candy bar by candy bar through everybody in that school. But that was the lesson that Coach Peffer taught me. And he put me in situations to help me. If it's help clean up the football stadium on a Saturday morning after a game, I'm putting myself out there because everybody's going to make fun of me. You're trying to brown nose the coach. You're trying to get playing time. And I'll never forget when he asked me about it. He said, meet me at the stadium Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I'm going to help you and your mom. And on Thursday, he'd give me $25 just to help because he knew we needed help. So what was my decision? Am I going to give in to the social pressure of being made fun of?
Right.
Or am I going to be smart enough and understanding he's doing this for me?
Right.
Well, the biggest lifelong lesson I've learned in coaching, you must educate players to understand there's a big difference when somebody's doing something to you or they're doing something for you. And I'll always go back to that moment. He was doing it for me. So if I'm hard on a player, if I'm going to push them mentally and physically as hard as they've ever been pushed, they must understand it's for them, not to them.
Rich, I told you were in for a treat today. Our listeners were in for a good one here. All right, Coach, I could take this a million different directions. You hit on it just briefly. You had the opportunity to coach under a couple legends that are a big deal here in our city of Louisville. Coach Crum, who I got to play a lot of golf with, who I loved Coach Crum, and then Coach Pitino. Did you take elements from each of them, of their coaching styles and philosophies, and make them your own?
Absolutely. Here's the great thing. They were both the same in this regard. From a fundamental standpoint, they believe the game should be played the exact same way. Dunk it with 2 hands or use the backboard.
Okay.
I mean, they play off 2 feet. They believe the game should be played the exact same way.
Interesting.
And they taught it 180 degrees the opposite.
Sure.
Coach Crum was a math major. He was very meticulous.
Yeah.
This 45-degree angle to use that backboard will be perfect. And Coach Pitino, this high-strung, passionate Italian, is going to teach you going 800 miles an hour. But they taught the fundamentals the same. So yet, to answer your question, what did I take? Bottom line, there's a right way and a wrong way to play the game of basketball. Now, I couldn't teach it like Coach Pitino. I couldn't teach it like Coach Crum. I had to teach it like Scott Davenport. But in terms of what you teach, there's a right way and a wrong way to play the game.
Okay. I have a funny Coach Crum story. I want to get your opinion on this. So I played golf professionally, played in college, was pretty good when I kind of got out of college and was back in town. He knew my uncle real well. And anytime he wanted to win a golf scramble, he'd call me.
Oh, there's no question.
But I tell you what.
I knew where you're going.
So we'd win, and we'd go win it all. And the boy, he loved getting that trophy. I mean, the last time, though, on 18, we all missed about a 2-foot putt. And we get back to the cart. And Coach writes down 3. We got a 4. I said, Coach, I can't do that. I raced it, and I put down 4. We turned it in. We lost by 1 shot. Last time he ever talked to me. Coach Crum wanted to win.
I'm going to tell you a story. So I go from being a graduate assistant, and then I went to VCU under Coach Polio.
Yep.
10 years at Ballard. Then I'm back with Coach Crum.
That's right.
And when I got comfortable enough, I decided one day, I said, he brought up, he was scoring, he had an out. I said, Coach, I need to say something about this. Coach, you're not supposed to win. You're there for people to associate with you, but let somebody else should win and get that joy. That's the hardest he ever yelled at me in my life.
I guarantee it.
Scotty, that's the worst thing I've ever. And I was like, how stupid am I? I mean, and I knew he was going to say he hired you.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Jimbo Hubbs was for hire.
That's right.
He had his guys that he loaded his scramble team up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I knew this.
I was his guy, man.
Legendary.
And I'm like.
And we were there to win.
But you know what? Here's the one thing he did teach me. He loved to win.
Oh, you better believe it.
But as a great teacher, and I use this when I give corporate talks, be it to coaches or just corporate leaders, winning is a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't last.
Yeah.
It doesn't last. What you learned that enabled you to win, that will last forever.
Yep.
So it's not just that fleeting feeling of winning. You must understand how you won. Mm-hmm. If it was attention to detail, practice, conditioning, you must understand and embrace how you won.
Yeah.
And that's Coach Crum.
How about Coach Pitino?
He's hired. He flies in. He lands over at Clark County Airfield. They literally follow his car down to the International Convention Center. It looked like them following OJ.
I remember watching on ESPN.
On the chase.
Yeah.
Well, I had been told during the end of the season to be there for the players.
Okay.
My house, their dorm room, the locker room, I was everywhere, 24/7, whatever they needed. So to try to be ahead of the game, I had a meeting room down at the International Convention Center and had all the players in that room. Coach comes in. They bring him through this back door. I've got the players off to this side room, and he comes up, and he's like, Scotty. I said, hi, Coach. Well, I'd only met Coach. He recruited DeJuan Wheat when I was at Ballard.
Okay.
But he was at the same time recruiting Tony Delk at...
So this is when he was at UK?
At UK. Okay. To go to UK. He took Tony Delk. But we had conversations about DeJuan, et cetera. So he immediately comes over and says, Scotty, how you doing? I said, hi, Coach, congratulations. And I'm trying to be very low-key. He said, do you think there's any chance I could when I could talk to the players? Coach, they're right here. They're literally 5 feet away in this room. He said, oh, that's great. So I walk in and I closed the door and I said, guys, this gentleman needs no introduction, the new basketball coach at the University of Louisville, Coach Rick Pitino. He turns to me and said, Scotty, could you please excuse yourself out of the room?
How'd you feel at that moment?
Unemployed. Unemployed.
Okay.
So I stand in the back of the room. I watch all the ceremony, all the hullabaloo, all the celebration, and I drove home.
Okay.
My wife's, how'd it go? I said, well, I don't know. So for 2 weeks, he hires Kevin Willard. Kevin's 25. He'd been with him at the Celtics. He brought Craig Noyes, ran the office organizationally. Brought in Tim Cipher, equipment manager.
That's right.
He's still looking for 2 assistants. And one morning we had individual instruction. Our small groups at 7 in the morning. I had the players in there loose, taped, stretched, ready to go at 6:30. He comes in and said, Scotty, let me see you in the coach's locker room. Well, here we go. Walked in there and he said, I've never kept a coach from a previous staff. And I interrupted him. I know you find that hard to believe. And I said, Coach, I'm well aware of that. And he goes, what? And I said, Coach, you coached at Kentucky. I coached at Louisville. I know everything. I've read every book.
Right.
I listened to every radio show.
Right.
We couldn't stand you. I know everything about you.
Right.
And he said, I'm keeping you. That afternoon, we go on. We immediately get in the car. We're going recruiting. We're halfway there. And he turns to me and goes, a lot of people were totally against me keeping you. They said, do not, under any circumstances, keep him. You want to know why? And I looked at him and said, yes, sir. I thought people liked it.
Yeah.
I said, yes, sir. He goes, here's what I told them. They argued that you were so loyal to Coach Crum, I was making a tremendous mistake. And I looked him in the eye and said, I'm keeping him because he'll be that loyal to me.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
Amen.
And the rest is history. Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Do you still have any contact with Coach Pitino at all?
So I met with our team Sunday night the 8th, and we had a week to plan things. And 7 minutes, and I told them the plan, and that it was Doug's turn, and we'll talk a little more about that meeting later. But I told them that, and I spent all that night. We weren't going to announce it publicly till 1 the next day. Well, I waited till 6:40 a.m. to call Coach, and we got off the phone at 7:20. And he was on that incredible run, St. John, and he reminisced, and I mean, he cried, I cried.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The day he kept me, we walked up to his office, and to show you how thorough he is, he said, how old were you when you lost your dad? 9, 10? I said, I'm 9. He goes, name me one thing your dad ever saw you do. And he started answering. Get married, graduate from U of L, get another degree, win a state championship, get hired by, he started just rattling 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, sir, I was 9.
Right.
He said, how old's Russ and Doug? He knew my son's names.
Okay. Did that surprise you at the time?
And I'm like, well, they're 9 and 11. He said, that's right. And you go see Ray Ganong today because you're going to set the benchmark for this program. And I said, excuse me? He said, your dad died of a heart attack. I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, go get yourself in shape so you see Russ and Doug do great things. And in 1 year to the day, I lost 79 pounds.
Did you really?
Russ and Doug are 37 and 39.
Wow.
One has 2 grandchildren. One has a grand dog. And one's now the new head coach at Bellarmine University.
Yep. Amen.
And he challenged me that day. How did he know? That's how thorough he was.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Isn't that
that he would take
awesome
the time
story.
to learn.
How did he
one.
know
And number
that?
2, how does he translate that into something that changed your life that day?
Well, at the end of the story, that year's over when the 79 pounds is gone. He went all over this community and took credit for it, but he wasn't in there on the treadmill at 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
I love it.
But that morning I spoke with him, it was quite emotional.
I bet. I can see it in your face right now.
It really was. Mm-hmm. I will say this, 2011, at 3:09 p.m., we won the national championship, the Horn Sound. The second phone call on my phone at 3:11 p.m. was Rick Pitino. I mean,
Wow.
That says a lot.
he'd called me that morning. It was like he was coaching the team. I mean, he had called after the semifinal. He was all over the place, but it was almost like it was almost like that's one of my boys, and man, am I proud of him, and look what I've done. Look what he's done.
Look what
That's
he's
right.
done.
He was a part of it.
Well, he's a part of all of his assistant coaches. I mean, his coaching tree is unreal.
It is.
It's second to none. Coach, tell us about Bellarmine University. I mean, while many know it's a Catholic institution, what makes Bellarmine so special?
Well, 2005 at University of Louisville, we go to the Final Four. I mean,
Who's on that team?
Taekwon, Francisco Garcia, Larry O'Bannon, Ellis Miles.
Ellis Miles is the center of that team. I remember. Okay.
Otis George.
Yep.
We win. We go to the Final Four. Bellarmine had an opening, and the job came open third week of February. And there was a lot of talk of this and that. And Coach Patino became obsessed with it. And I'm like, Coach, let's worry about. We're trying to go to the Final Four.
Right.
There'll be a time. Scotty, I talked to a friend of that president. He's calling him and. Scotty, it's going to be like your job, my job at Providence. You're going to do such. He was upset, and I said, Coach, we're trying to go to the Final Four.
Right.
Let's concentrate Let's concentrate on West Virginia. Let's concentrate on New Mexico. Let's do this. And he was obsessed with it. And I take the job. I go in. Scott Weekend calls me on a Wednesday night. I go in and meet with Coach, and for 15 minutes, he screamed at me that I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. You really don't understand. You've never, and I'm standing there, I'm sitting in his office, and I'm like,
Which day is it?
I walk into my office and sit down, and Kevin Willard, now the head coach at Villanova, walks in, and he goes, hey, Podsy, how confused are you right now? I heard every word of that. And I looked at him, he goes, Kevin closed my door, which had never happened in 5 years. And he goes, let me tell you something. It's the greatest compliment you're ever going to get in your life. I said, Kev, talk to me. He goes, he doesn't want you to leave. He knows what you do. He doesn't want you to leave. He goes, you got to go. We're going to take you out this evening. You got to go. That's Thursday. I meet with the team on Friday. It's announced. Saturday, I ran a mini marathon, Kenny, with Kevin Willard that morning.
Yeah.
That night, a great friend of mine got a promotion. Our sons all grew up together. A promotion. One got a new position. The other couple's very close to us. We all went to dinner at Pat's Steakhouse. They all go to our house for dessert. It's 11 o'clock at night, and Coach calls me. He's on the West Coast recruiting. And he calls and he thanks me for saying nice things about him at the press conference. And he goes, Scotty, it meant so much to me. And he goes on, and he goes, Scotty, are you at a party? No, sir, Coach. So we've got some friends. A friend of mine got a great new promotion. Another one got a new. Scotty, are you all partying? I said, no, Coach. We went to dinner at Pat's. We're having dessert. 45 minutes later, our doorbell rings. Now, if it's 11:45 on a Saturday night and you've got now college or high school age, college age sons, you're scared to death.
Amen.
May not be good.
I open the door. There's 2 bottles of Dom Perignon and 24 red roses for my wife. How he did that, I'll never know.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
In my box where the Final Four watch and ring are displayed, it's a display box. The 2 corks of the Dom Perignon are in that box.
I bet.
They're in that box. I mean, how did he do that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, back to this question.
Let me answer the Bellarmine
Let's talk Bellarmine. Yes, please.
Okay. So what happened? Why would I leave a team that just went to the Final Four?
Yep.
It was Bellarmine and my beliefs, academically, athletically, and socially, were 100% non-negotiable in line. And I felt with all my heart, they had only won 9 games, that if I believed in the university's direction in terms of academics, athletics, and socially, because it was becoming very in vogue at that time, then I could sell that university in terms of recruiting. 9 games. We had been to the Final Four, and the dream comes. 6 years later, we win a national championship.
Pretty incredible. Wow. So you believed in the mission.
My beliefs of that university, and now to double down on my belief, My oldest son, Russ, has 2 degrees, his undergrad and his MBA from Bellarmine.
Mm-hmm.
Doug has his undergrad degree there. Russ's wife, Ashley,
Yep.
who we know,
Yep.
Ashley has 2 degrees from Bellarmine. Doug met his wife, Alex. She's doing an internship in our athletic department. He rushes in trying to catch a half a game, and he turns to Tracy, who runs our office, says, "Who is that?" And she goes, "Well, that's Alex Stanley. She's doing an internship here in sports administration." Doug said, "I need to meet her." He proposes to her in Knights Hall.
Oh, wow.
And now they're married, and he's the head coach of
wow.
Bellarmine. So, yeah, I would say I kind of believe in it.
I'd say so. So, Rich, I got to get your opinion here. The foundation has a lot of deep ties to Bellarmine. It seems like a lot of the people we bring on, a lot of the foundation board members, a lot of the donors. With so many alumni involved kind of in the foundation's work, why do you think Bellarmine plays such a meaningful role in the fabric of our Catholic community?
You know, that's a good question. It kind of, in my business career, which spanned about 35 years at Humana, at HCA, and then winding up at Kindred, I had the chance to meet with and, in many cases, hire a lot of Bellarmine grads.
Yeah.
Okay, the finance program, the accounting program, you name it, since its beginning in the 1950s has always been top notch.
Got it.
And every time I got a resume from a Bellarmine kid, I said, you know, I want to meet this student, you know. And I hired a ton of them over time. And guess how many of them failed?
Probably
Zero.
not many, yeah.
Zero.
Amazing.
None of them failed because the moral code was there,
Yeah.
the moral compass, if you will, devoted, rigorous workers, and they would always say the word we versus I.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were all about team. And while I didn't attend Bellarmine, I took some summer courses there, but I didn't attend there full time. I would tell you it's one of the greatest assets this city's got. It really is. And to this day, to your point, a lot of our donors, a lot of our board members, both past and present, have some connection or experience with Bellarmine.
Yeah.
In addition to that, Susan Donovan and her team support us at our events every single year. So and quite honestly, a lot of kids that we're helping in grade school move on to a Catholic high school in many cases. And a lot of them, and we've helped them along the way just to navigate for them. A lot of them take a hard look at Bellarmine, take a hard look at U of L. And so that connection or that pathway for them has been unbelievable.
I got a really cool experience to sit courtside at Freedom Hall, right across from Coach as he's coaching. I forget who they played, maybe FAU. And I'm sitting, a friend Michael Bush gave me a seat. I'm sitting right next to Tom Peroni. And what do? We talk about CEF the whole time, right? We talk about the Catholic Education Foundation, and he's such a big Bellarmine booster. And
oh yeah,
you know, it's so important to this community. All right, Coach. Since joining the Knights, you become the program's all-time wins leader. You won 6 conference titles, or reached the NCAA Division II Final Four twice or 3 times. 4 times. National championship, as we mentioned, in 2011. What were the keys to your success?
To circle back, putting the players first, number one. Number two, the belief that it takes everybody. A manager, a strength coach, an athletic trainer, every assistant coach, it takes everybody. That's why 4 years ago, my son Doug came up with, in December, a brilliant idea. He called me in one day and said, "Dad, I got an idea." And I thought he was talking about practice that day. I said, "Yeah, what you got?" And he goes, "Sit down." He goes, "You and Mom and Russ and I and Alex and Ashley and Ren and now little Jake, why don't we start a scholarship?" I'm looking at Doug like, "Doug, how much you think that do you know what it costs to go to Bellarmine?"
Right.
He said, "Hear me out, Dad." He said, 100 times a day you utter the words, "It takes everybody. Let's start it for the student managers." I said, "Doug, that is incredible."
Yeah.
Since we're in year 4 now of a Davenport Derby Dash, it's Wednesday of Derby week, we will, in a number of years, we will endow a scholarship in the Davenport name long after we're gone, long after Doug's gone.
Yep.
Now, here's what's amazing. John Calipari's, Rick Pitino's, these coaches, they go crazy when I ask for donations for items for an auction or an event, etc. John Calabrese said, "Do you realize how bad you're making all us look?" He said, "I make who knows how many hundreds of times more than you, and you're giving a scholarship to your managers in the name of your family?"
That's funny.
He goes, "You're making us all look bad." He goes, "How many items you need?"
we need, Coach.
But we do, and so to answer your question, what the keys were, including everybody, but then the bottom line, everybody must want the same thing.
Right.
And be willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
If it's watch extra film, shoot extra shots, if it's no matter what it is, must be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it. But what I have found, my greatest emotional paychecks in coaching, when you achieve it, they celebrate each other. Mm-hmm. They don't. At Bellarmine, I mean, in this day and age, I don't care what level, they grab their shirt, mug for that camera, look
That's
at
right.
me, make a signal. We don't allow that. We want them celebrating each other.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest emotional paycheck I've ever had as a coach.
So these next two questions, I'm going to kind of ask them as one. And we talked a little bit off air on this. And I remember following this very closely and kind of getting upset hearing you talk about it because it's one of the things that didn't make sense to me or still doesn't make sense. But under your leadership, Bellarmine made the move to Division I, which obviously it was a huge, very important jump for that university. But there's also an NCAA rule that prevents teams from participating in the NCAA tournament for 4 years after transitioning from Division II to Division I. In 2002, your team would have made the March Madness tournament if not for that rule. And I know you fought. And again, this is a loaded question, and I don't even know what you can and can't say on this, Coach. But do you think that rule is fair? And what's your overall thoughts on that?
Well, number one, we made that transition for Bellarmine University. It had nothing to do with men's basketball. We made that to put our name on a bigger platform.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
We had gone to 4 Final Fours, won a national championship, Division II. Now, what you got to understand is in March of 2020, it was our 12th consecutive Division II tournament appearance.
Okay.
That's the third longest streak in the history of Division II basketball.
Got it.
Spring break, Thursday night, fried chicken night at Audubon. We had no class. We had film, individual instruction, more film, practice, more film. I mean, we had it all. We're between Bellarmine and Audubon. What's that, 2.5 miles?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
The NCAA tournament's canceled.
Oh, we're talking COVID. Okay, got it.
I remember it well.
Now, our players are sent home. Dr. Mark and Mrs. Lynn had created a locker room that I will put against anybody in this country at any level.
Okay.
A video area, a refueling area, their personal area, a meeting area. It's second to none.
Okay.
Our first meeting, Division I, July 5th, 2020, standing in the parking lot in front of Knights Hall, telling them where to go get tested and where to quarantine. They stood next to their car. They could not go in that locker room. So not only are we making this transition, we're starting it during COVID.
Oh, wow.
I'd forgotten that. I've forgotten the timing.
The first game in the history of Bellarmine University as a Division I basketball institution. Cameron Indoor Stadium playing Duke.
I remember that.
And the crowd was cardboard cutouts.
Oh, my goodness.
They had the Duke, the Cameron Crazies are cardboard. I have a massive wall-size poster of the jump ball.
Yeah.
It's the first jump ball ever. And all you see in the background are the Cameron Crazy
my goodness.
cutouts. So
Yeah.
those players, we've had players who went through high school, now into college, Division II to Division I, a worldwide pandemic, off we go. 2 years later, we win the conference tournament championship. That guarantees you a right in the NCAA tournament. Since 1998, at that time, 22 years, 67 schools had transitioned. Nobody in history had ever won the automatic bid.
You're the first one.
You were the
So what happened?
Wow.
It bit them in the rear end. It finally got them. and they didn't know what to do. We fought it. Governor Andy Beshear fought it. John Yarmouth, Mitch McConnell, we fought it.
You name it.
And put it on me. For some reason, we couldn't get it changed. And I'm the one who had to face those players every single day.
Yep.
And it was as hard a thing because there was no rationale, and we never could get an explanation. Mm-hmm. They wanted you to be committed. Well, you're committed financially. You're committed as a staff.
Oh, yeah. Because
you add staffing, but you have so much more responsibility. That's put on your staff. Why punish the students?
Right.
Punish all us adults. Don't punish them.
Yeah.
And that was my argument. Again, it goes back to, Coach Pafford teaching me to put the players first.
Yeah. I remember it. It was public, and the city was outraged.
Oh, it was. It was. There's so many funny articles from the Wall Street Journal, from the New York Times, and they were not syndicated articles. They were legit. Mm-hmm. I mean, and we just, those poor kids. So to go through a worldwide pandemic, a transition, you win it, and to bear everything now, we ran up. We knew we weren't eligible for the tournament.
That's right.
But we had been told we were eligible to play in the NIT, a national stage.
Yeah.
We ran up the ramp that night in Freedom Hall. We're in the NIT.
Yeah.
10 o'clock the next morning, I had to tell them they're not.
Wow.
Why?
Wow.
Well, they had changed that too because they bought the NCAA bought the NIT, so they were going to restructure that and not to get. We could do a whole other show to tell you how bad it was. The women's NIT was owned by a private group out of Denver called Triple Crown Sports. So if our women had won it, they could have gone to the NIT, but we can't. In this day and age, you can't do that,
goodness.
Right? Well,
it's completely insane.
Somebody owes. We'll say they owe the Catholic Education Foundation money. Well, that's who we'll give the money to. That group 1 year later, Triple Crown Sports, they sold the women's NIT tournament to the NCAA.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, y'all owe me money, man. Y'all owe me. They did. That's a true story.
All right, Coach. So, listen, there's been some high-profile coaching searches. Obviously, when Coach Pitino was let go, obviously when Coach Mack had his issues, and Kenny Payne, your name always came up. It was always in the mix, and it was always kind of one of the last two or three. Do you ever look back and wish you maybe had gotten that opportunity to coach the University of Louisville, or was this something you never even really considered?
When they hired Coach Mack, things had progressed very fast, and they changed on a dime. I mean, they changed quick. And I already had Doug in place. I was going to take care of Bellarmine at all costs, no matter what.
Yep.
And the thought was, let's ease through these difficult times with someone who's mature and understands it. Just get us to that finish line, and then we'll pass the baton.
Makes sense.
It's very far along. I've never had an agent in my life,
okay.
So it's just personal discussions. I'll never forget, it ended like in a snap. And I called my staff in, and one of my assistants had been a graduate assistant. I won't name the school. I don't want to name him. And the head coach had lost a member of his staff, and he didn't get promoted. And I said, "Did you get promoted?" He's like, "No, sir, I didn't." I said, "That's right." "Doug, did you get called about a job?" Doug was a graduate assistant at Xavier under Chris Mack. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I said, "Doug, have you been called?" And Doug looked at me. He's like, "No, sir." I said, "That's right. And I'm not going to Louisville. So here's going to be our approach." I won't say his name. "You were not good enough. You would have got it. Doug, you wasn't good enough. You would have got it. I was not good enough. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to put our head down, and every one of us are going to be better at what we do. That's what we're going to take from this. No pity party. We're all going to get better." All three of us were crying. And we all just got better. Doug's now the head coach. We end up, from that point, we go on to win the ASUN Conference Tournament Championship. This other unnamed assistant has had an incredible career, and he is skyrocketing up the career ladder. And I had to be honest with her, but let's just get better. That's the way I approached it.
So what I'm hearing here is sounds like it was pretty close and got kind of snubbed at the end.
Yeah, I don't know how it all happened. I mean, there's different accounts. I'd been a walk-on JV player at the University of Louisville in 1975. I have 2 degrees, 39 hours over my master's. From there, I coached under 2 Hall of Fame coaches. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Pretty good resume.
Yeah, not
okay.
bad.
I mean, I had...
Coach, do you think you've been successful there?
Yes.
I do too.
But now I'll tell you this. Look, I'll tell you all this. And I'll say this. He doesn't mind. He and I we talk 10 times a week. I mentioned I didn't have an agent. I was going to prove to this community I was not doing this for money. And I told the people in charge, I said, I'm going to prove to you I'm not about money. I said, I want you to take Jeff Walls' contract and redact his name, put my name there, I'll sign it.
Wow. How about that?
And I said, and when you announce me, he's going to stand next to me, and we're going to prove to everybody in this community we're all for the right reasons. We're for this university. We are not about money.
That would have been
Coach
impactful
Walls
at that
and I
time.
talk 10 times a week. We talked today. He called me that afternoon.
Wow.
I said that, and the tone of his voice was different. He said, "Can I ask you something?" He said, "Did you make this statement?" And he repeated my statement. I said, "Yes." He goes, "Could you call him back and give me a $400,000 raise?" But I was going to do it to prove that I wanted to unite this community behind a basketball program, not just behind. It was nothing to do with me. I was going to prove that. And I was going to stand up there with women's soccer. Karen Ferguson was there when I was. Arthur Barrow, the swim coach, was. I knew all those coaches.
Yeah.
Baseball, Dan McDonough, I knew them all. And I said, we're going to do this thing together, because at that time it was a very, very divided community.
Oh, it's
and I was
crazy.
I was going to unite them by proving it was for the right reasons.
But they went a whole nother route that about ruined the entire program, but we won't get into that. But and honestly, I better switch gears here before I start going down a path I shouldn't here, Rich. But all right, so he mentioned her name earlier, Rich. Scotty's daughter-in-law, Ashley, is an absolute rock star within the Catholic community. I'm sure you know her well as a part of the team member at Holy Trinity. She is kind of, people like her is what makes our Catholic education system such a special group. Can you talk to that a little bit, Rich?
Look, she's part of a core of men and women who view this kind of like what Coach said, not about me. Not about me. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday morning, we're at St. Stephen Martyr, where I'm a graduate, and we have a special award, teacher award. We give out 4 a year.
Oh, that's right. Yep, big deal.
Yeah, the Ulmer Innovation Award. And we went to the school mass, and after the mass was concluded, one of the teachers received the award. And if you would have seen the reaction of that entire church, all those students, her personal reaction to it, her father and mother came in at that moment to see that, speaks volumes about the people that really do the work in our Catholic schools. And they're everywhere. They're at Holy Trinity. They're at St. Stephen. And you know what it is? You can use a lot of words. It's love, devotion, and accountability. Our teachers, our administrators demand accountability from everybody in the building, everybody. And in a Catholic school, and you go to any one of them you want, you're going to find that ingredient that makes them so great.
Coach, what's your opinion on that? So, obviously I know you didn't get to experience Catholic schools yourself, but obviously the Catholic school system here in Louisville is a big piece of our community, and you know it well. What do you think the Catholic schools' impact in our city is?
Well, I'm gonna double down on what Rich just said. So Ashley's first job ever was at Holy Trinity, and she's quite excitable.
Yeah.
I always
personality.
Reference Ashley like this. Every one of us, in a matter of 3 seconds, can come up with multiple teachers' names in our lifetime who were born to be teachers.
Yep.
Right now, you can do it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And they just bouncing off the walls every second of every day.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's Ashley.
Yeah.
Well, Ashley's got her first job ever, Holy Trinity, second grade. She says to my wife, you want to see my classroom? And she's so proud of it. And she's decorated. They meet at Holy Trinity. In they go. Down the hall they go. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, all they're walking. And Sharon's like, you got to be kidding me. They keep walking. She's like, this is incredible. She's becoming emotional. They turn left. My wife's first job ever, second grade, Holy Trinity, same room.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
What about that?
Your
How about
wife's
that?
first job's in the same classroom?
Wow.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And Sharon taught at Holy Trinity, so I do understand the value of these teachers. I mean, Sharon
my
was
gosh.
supposed to be a teacher. I met Sharon at a professional development conference. That's where we met, of all places. But
Wow.
I know you
Yeah,
can't.
It's just crazy. You can't
That is crazy. You can't. Right. That's like a movie. All right. So, Coach, your son Doug is now taking the reins at Bellarmine as the new head coach. Obviously, this is a transition that you had planned. And how cool is it that you can be set up in a situation to where you can transition things to your son and this has to be a pretty meaningful thing for you.
He was a junior at Bellarmine. It was spring of his junior year, and the season's over. And as with every junior, I always have long meetings because life's plan now is starting to become a little more in focus. You're entering your senior year, be it internships, et cetera. I know we're going to touch more on that later, and I'm like, Doug, he's got a dual major in political science and business. So I'm like, okay, Doug, Wall Street, law school, you're kind of bouncing
That's
two
right.
things. He only made 7 Bs his entire career at Bellarmine. I was a student. I wish I'd made 7.
Yeah. Right.
And I said, Doug, so where are we going with this plan? And he looked me in the eye and said, Dad, I'm going to be a basketball coach. And when I left my office on a Saturday, everything was very organized in terms of what I was remaining, and what I
Right.
was taking. I left no one around, and I left a very, very emotional letter in the middle of that desk. And I referenced back to that day when he said he was going to be a basketball coach. And
Yeah.
the message was, you have prepared your whole life for this. Now, enjoy the journey.
It's a great story.
So, Rich and I, as an unbelievable story, and he's going to treasure that letter forever. Rich and I had the pleasure here recently of doing one of these podcasts with Coach Pat Kelsey, who I think is the right guy at the right time for the University of Louisville right now. But he really talked about the importance of building a culture. What does culture mean to you?
Well, let's go back to Doug. Doug was a GA under Coach Kelsey at Xavier.
Well, there you go.
Coach Kelsey gets the job at Winthrop, and he hires Doug.
Okay.
Doug takes the job and moves on a Thursday from Cincinnati to Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Yeah.
I get a call on Monday, 4 days later, from Coach Patino at 7:35 in the morning. And he's going crazy that he's messed up and he's got to have Doug on his staff.
Uh-oh.
I said, Coach, he goes, I'll call Coach Kelsey. I'll make this right, Scotty. I've got to have him. I'm going to have one film guy. It's going to be Doug and me. I called Doug. I said, Doug, you got to call Coach right now. And he gives me 100 reasons why he can't. I said, Doug, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Right.
And within 30 minutes, Doug calls me and said, Dad, he just hired me. And Doug moved back on Thursday. He moved 3 times in 8 days. So
How about that connection?
I've
huh?
had that relationship with Coach Kelsey goes way back, where I would not use the word culture.
Okay.
We at Bellarmine have used the word program, and we define that as having a plan. And I keep referencing that plan is academic, athletic, and social. And in this day and age, again, social is a big part of that.
It is.
A player can mess up socially, social media, et cetera, and impact their whole life.
Yep.
So we use the word program, which means we have a plan for you. A plan academically, athletically, and socially.
Mm-hmm. I love that. All right. So I'm really curious on this one because I don't know the answer. And I think NIL has absolutely changed college athletics. Tommy Izzo just made the comment that in the portal you're making offers, you're not recruiting. And actually, Coach Kelsey kind of said, there's a lot to that when we asked him this question. Larger programs like UVL UK have embraced it. I'm hearing UK spending $20 million this year on a roster.
Wow.
What's your thoughts on NIL, and how does that affect a program like Bellarmine?
Well, number one, I'm not going to be the coach who's retired who sounds like the old man. I hate NIL. I'm not going to be that guy.
Okay.
And my regards to that is, I would love to hear from the people who were in that room stand up and explain their rationale. Then I'll be fine.
Yep.
Because I would love to know what it was. And we'll never hear that.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
It was thrown upon us with no plan at all. Now, Bellarmine, we have embraced it. We're trying to enhance NIL, but one part will never leave. We have had players in major corporate level internships in this community. Morgan Stanley, Norton Healthcare, ISCO, the Kirchdorfers.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you can go through all these who we've had these major internships with. Well, these paid internships upon graduation, if you do play professionally, overseas, internationally, what do these internships lead to? Jobs.
That's right.
Careers, futures.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I use this in reality. We had 4 freshmen on our team this year. They're 18 years old. Okay, let's do the math. 50 years from now, they're going to be 68. Probably at the end of their working career, right?
Right.
That's going to be the year 2075.
Yikes.
So we better prepare them.
Yeah. Amen.
Now, what blows everybody away, you talk about the money, the numbers that I don't believe because nobody can prove them.
Yeah, nobody can prove any of it.
Kentucky's, Louisville, Michigan State's, on and on and on and on and on. Well, let's throw this number out there. Not NAIA, not junior college, just NCAA. Division I NCAA, Division II NCAA, Division III NCAA, men and women. There in June of 24, a year ago, the last census, there was over 522,000 athletes. What are we really talking about?
Right.
We're talking about nothing. We better. Everybody loves the NCAA tournament,
Yep.
right? It's 296 teams.
Right.
296 don't make it.
Yep.
What about all these players? My argument about transfer is only one thing. What is it going to do to graduation rates? Because retention, you don't get to transfer every class because they want you to retain and stay in your school.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I finished 20 years at Bellarmine. That's 40 semesters. We've never had a semester under 3.0 as a team.
Never.
Never. At Bellarmine.
Wow.
Which isn't easy to do.
You talk about you talk about the 22 team
Wow.
that won the A-Sun. We had 4 seniors. COVID, redshirt year with 2, we had 4 seniors. They left Bellarmine that year doing something never been done in the history of college basketball with 7 degrees. 7. I lay my head down, I'm okay.
So is that what you're telling recruits? I mean, is that what
Yes.
Doug's pitching now?
Yes. Yes, NIL is a part of it, but let it prepare you for the rest of your life.
Yep. You got a long journey ahead of you. 18 years old. You got a long way to go.
Coach, I haven't heard that angle. I like that. I mean, that makes a ton of sense.
But you're okay, if you make $20 an hour working 20, 25 a week, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty good money.
Yeah.
And then we've had players leave Bellarmine, graduate. Bellarmine graduation this year's May 10th. On May 12th, there will be guys going to jobs, $75,000 to $80,000 entry-level jobs. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the end result? You talk about recruiting, you're using the game of basketball. It's not using you. What I'm afraid, I just want to see some of these poor young men when they're 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
I still worry about the young people.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Man, we've gone a long time here, Coach. Now, granted, I could probably ask you 100 more questions, and I would be content here. But we're going to be mindful of your time. And my last question here is, and this one's not on our script. So, what are you going to do with all this free time now?
Well, I have a problem. I've never practiced it.
Yeah.
I've never practiced it, so I don't know how to answer that. I know this. I ran 28 miles this week. As of Friday, I will have run 28. I don't know. I've never practiced this. I coached 47 years, 46 in this community. My last coaching words in my life on that Sunday night, I challenged those players in that locker room to have one goal. I said, when you get to your point of your journey where I am right now, I want you to utter the words I'm going to utter. So you've got your whole life to do this. But if somebody magical walked in this room right now and said, Coach Davenport, you have one wish. You're going to get anything you want. Anything you want. What do you want? I'm here for you. I'll grant your wish. I just wish I could go do every single minute of it again. Mm-hmm. And I said to those players, if you can say those words when you're at your position in your life where I am, you'll look back and be successful. So right now, start preparing that you can go back and say, man, I wish I could do it again. Don't regret one day. I wish I could do it again. Anything to do it again.
Rich, how about this podcast? This is a good one, huh?
We're going to give you a few listens out of it.
I think we'll get a couple out of this. Coach, you're a pillar of our city. Your impact on Louisville has been tremendous. We thank you for everything you've done for our community and for the sport of basketball. And so, Rich, as every Catholic school family in need now knows, at the Catholic Education Foundation,
the answer is yes.
That's awesome.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. That was awesome.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for everything.